Okay, so we're finally at the conclusion of this build. It's time to season the drum. And all seasoning basically means is that we're going to coat the inside of it with oil. We're going to fire it up and adjust the temperature and watch it and see what it does. And then this will give you kind of a prequel to how it's going to react when you put food in it. So this way we get a practice run, if you will, and that way I can watch the gauges, figure out how to adjust what valve to get me just the right temperature, at least the target that I want to achieve. You'll be able to get pretty much any temperature you'd want, but for me, my ideal target is between 185 to 220. I don't like to go above that, and mainly I like to cook tri-tip. So that's what we're going to go for. Let's see if we can maintain 220. A little bit less would be fine. Like I said, I like to get lots of smoke in my meat. Some people don't want a lot of smoke, so you would go with a higher temperature. I have found that around the 170 range, you seem to get the most smoke, the heaviest. So 185 to 220, you kind of have good range. And that's a pretty much a standard. 220 is pretty popular with most smoking of any food, or barbecue I should say, or slow cooked foods. That's usually a target temperature regardless. These gauges are nice because they even have ranges on there, so you can just visually look and it's color coded, so you're in a zone, you know, from far away. And oh yeah, most important tip, stay away from lighter fluid, especially in a smoker. Do not use lighter fluid. It's just, there's no reason to use it. If you're in a hurry, you get one of those little flamethrowers and you'll light stuff up right away. But the lighter fluid definitely imparts flavor into your food. It can. There's a lot of oils, I think, is what the problem is with lighter fluid, that even though you've burned off the alcohol base, it leaves like kind of an oily, and then that you'll taste that in your food. You don't want that. So just do natural fire. If you need to speed it up, use a torch. Works pretty good. Okay, well, I think that's about all the testing we're going to be able to do tonight. It's now getting a little dark, and I think we got enough data to give us a good idea of how we're going to need to adjust it. Now, one of the things to keep in mind when you do use a smoker is when you keep adding meat, or the more meat you add, it's kind of like adding blocks of ice to something hot. It is going to cool down the overall temperature, so the challenge is in being careful not to just throw all your valves open, put all that meat in, thinking that, oh, you know, you got to compensate. Next thing you know, it's just so high, and then you have a hard time bringing it back down. So it's very much a waiting game and being very patient. So the only way to do the most perfect test is we're going to put some meat on there, and then we'll get it dialed in for that particular meat. And of course, my meat of choice is tri-tip. So what I'm going to end up doing is, as soon as I get some meat, we'll put it in there, and I'll do a better test and give you guys the final results. Yeah. Okay, we're finally there, guys. Time to put some meat on the grill. So first, we've got to put a rub on it and then throw it on the grill. Now this is a rub that I make myself. I call it Mike's Magic Rub. Don't rub your meat without it. That's my slogan. Pretty bad, I know. It's a basic barbecue rub. I got a couple books here I wanted to showcase really quick. It's by the guy Stephen Eichelin. This one's great for anybody who wants to learn tips on barbecuing. If you're new to barbecue, awesome book. You see how thick this thing is. And but one of my favorite books is this one. It's just about sauces and rubs. There's a good Coca-Cola barbecue sauce in there. That's awesome. And that's where I get my basic barbecue rub. Now this one's been modified quite a bit because I was missing some ingredients, and I usually tweak it a little, but at least it gives you a baseline of what to follow as far as on a basic barbecue rub. And I use this rub mainly just on tri-tip and brisket. That's all it gets used for. Don't be stingy when you're putting rub on meat. Pretty much wanting to almost to the point of getting like a shell. Just want to make sure it's completely covered, every inch of the meat. Now I'm used to offset smokers, so I'm not really sure how this one's going to react. As you just saw, I put in a little pie tin that I can put some liquid in, help keep flare up. Or I should say help keep direct heat off of barbecue. So okay, let me get this on the grill. Okay, so we got that on the grill. And I'm going to get my thermometers and we'll hook those up. Got the gauges on the front, but I have a new thermometer I want to try out. It has two probes, one you put on your grate and the other one you put in the meat. But the most awesome thing, it's got a little remote control, so I don't have to sit out here. Just go to the house and look at my little gauge and see how high the temperature is. I'm going to also, later on, I'll probably put some beans in there. I might make my little concoction here, some chili, black beans, and maybe even brown sugar. And I've come up with some pretty creative things with those black beans. And we'll talk about that when I get to that point. I'm going to try this barbecue thermometer kit I got from my favorite Chinese retailer, banggood.com. And what it is you've got one, this is a remote, you just keep this in your pocket, and then this one will stay out here, and it's got the hookups for the probes. Actually, I think I had that wrong. Probes go in here, this gets to go in the house with you and whatever. So, although I realize I bought the wrong one, they had another one that used two probes. That's all I really wanted. I wanted a thermometer that could measure two things at once. But what this one does that's kind of nice, I'll show you, I opened it ahead of time, is one of those leads, this clips onto your grill. So it's just like I had those thermometers in the front, you wouldn't need those, you could have this. So this is going to monitor both the grate temperature, and then we've got our probe for the meat itself. So let's go ahead and get this set up, and it's gonna be great because first time cooking tri-tip on this thing, and it'll be first time trying this thing out. See how well it works. Okay, well, I'm having trouble getting this thing going. I don't know what's going wrong here. Guess I'm gonna have to actually read the instructions. Okay, problem solved. It was user error. I needed to resync it with the base. But I can already tell you I'm not a big fan of this. It's not that great a quality. And I'm kind of surprised why they didn't put a magnetic base on the other one. And the leads are super short, so those are 2 strikes against it. Yeah, I think that's about it. I mean, it seems to be doing okay. The temperatures aren't matching. So the gauges on the front versus the digital, they're not the same, so I'm not sure what that means. Which one's accurate? You know, those are barbecue thermometers. You'd want to believe those are good. No, they're not the high-end ones, so don't know. So we'll see. Okay, so things are finally getting to a good point where the gauges on the outside say 220, which is exactly where I want it to be. 275 here. That's okay. I can live with that. And as you just saw, I went ahead and added some moisture. I put in some cherry Dr. Pepper onto my little tray to help give more of a steam. So the beauty of putting in some sort of a water source is it helps to keep the meat will begin to dry. So the water reinstates moisture, which then also pulls in more smoke, and then your flavor gets in there nice and gets in deeper, and you get that beautiful ring, smoke ring. I didn't talk about what I was using is my little, I call it my secret, but I've talked to a lot of people and it's not really a secret. People who are really into barbecue do the same exact thing, is that I'm not just using wood for the smoke, this is just the bark. It's oak bark, and I find that makes the best. It smokes like crazy just on its own. So if you want to get a really good heavy smoke, I tell you, get bark if you can. Yeah, so I think we're doing pretty good. We're on target. I want to hit 145 on the meat. And according to this, we're at 122. So we only got like 23 degrees to go. So I better get the beans and stuff ready on there, warming up. Okay, I'm going to throw together a quick little bean setup here. Normally I just use the black beans, but I don't know why my friend gave me this can of chili to try. It's like, I've been eating this for years as if it's something new and wonderful to him, so I guess he wanted to share it with me. So we're going to add that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to stretch this, or reduce it however you want to call it. And we're going to enhance it. I'm going to add these black beans to it. And normally what I do is I just get these standard, these are, what is this, the S&W organic black beans. They sell them in a giant box at Costco. I have a couple little tricks I like to do with those. I kind of made my own little ghetto chili, but man, it came out actually really good. Is a can of this, and I have this other seasoning I didn't bring out here. I'll have to show it to you guys later. And I seasoned it first with that to taste, and basically that seasoning has a lot of garlic in it, so I do that first, and then in order to get the heat in there, this is my secret ingredient right here. You've heard of that place called Five Guys? If you haven't, it's a hamburger place. Well, they have this seasoning. It's real spicy that they put on their French fries for you. Well, I always ask for it, little containers of it. I don't eat all of it, so I started bringing it home and I put it in this little container. So this is an awesome little addition to give you some heat to the beans. Let's see what I've done, if I've ruined it or not. Yeah, not bad. Now blow more heat. what I usually do is, I'm not doing it this time, is I would season the beans, get it going. There's put sausage in here, chop up a bunch of your favorite sausage. Okay, so I guess a little bit of a recap. We're gonna wrap this up since it's gonna be a time to eat, and unfortunately I don't have enough for everybody. So I have to go and enjoy an awesome lunch with my woman. I wanted to say one of the nice things also about this type of a cooker is you don't have to move the meat. Since the heat is just centralized all around, it kind of envelops the meat. That's a great thing too. Then you're not messing and fudging with stuff. You put it in there and just leave it. But I want to talk about these books again. And the guy's name is Stephen Reichman. If you go anywhere that has books, if you can find anywhere that still has books, you'll actually find these in the grocery store quite a bit. Really good books, man. He's got a lot of neat stuff in here to try. And like I said, the first one is called How to Grill, and he has another one. I almost bought it. It's called the Barbecue Bible, but I looked at it. It looked like it's just this exact same book again. So I don't know if it's a way to sell the same book twice. I don't know. So I recommend that book, especially for the sauces and stuff. And what else? I guess that's about it. So I hope you like this series, and I appreciate you sticking around to the end. If you like this video, smash that like button. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. And until next time, you guys take care.